A man decided to make money by donating his sperm to a hospital, not just once or twice but 600 times. In return, he earned over $100,000 in compensation. But 20 years later, he received a court summons. It turned out his sperm quality had been exceptional, and because of it, 500 families had been able to have children. Now, all those kids had grown up, and they all wanted to know who their biological father was. They filed a lawsuit demanding the hospital reveal his identity. But David, the donor, was living in poverty. His fiancée was pregnant, and he was terrified that hundreds of kids might come after him for child support. David turned to his friend John for help. John, who was a lawyer, agreed to represent him. He handed David a large envelope. Inside were all the files of the children who were suing him. When David got home, he opened the envelope and randomly pulled out one of the profiles. To his surprise, the kid had become a professional soccer player on the national team. David went to a game to see him play, and as he watched his son's incredible skills, he couldn't believe it. He was just an ordinary guy, yet his son was a prodigy. Excited, David went home and opened a second file. That child had grown up to be a lifeguard. Thinking his son's job seemed dull, David pretended to drown just to give him something to do. The third file was about a beautiful daughter. David secretly followed her around, making sure no one harassed her. But then one day, he opened another file, and this time he couldn't smile. That child had cerebral palsy and had been abandoned at a care facility since birth. Heartbroken, David went to visit him. He pushed his wheelchair through the park, fed him, watched TV with him, and quietly ended that heavy day. Later, David attended a big gathering, where over 100 of his children had come together for a party. They grilled food, played games, and at night they sat around a bonfire sharing stories. For the first time, David truly felt the joy of being a father. He wanted to reveal his identity to them all, but John warned him that the whole country was already talking about him, and none of it was good. People called him irresponsible, a man who didn't think about the consequences of his actions. That night, David told his father everything. To his surprise, his father said family was what mattered most, and encouraged him to face it bravely. Then he handed David his savings, $200,000, to help him through it. The next day, David finally found the courage, and publicly admitted his identity to the media. Not long after, his fiancée went into labor. Thankfully, both mother and baby were healthy, and when David stepped out of the delivery room, he saw hundreds of his grown-up children waiting outside the hospital room. They all hugged him tightly, but the happiest of all was the newborn, because from the moment he was born, he already had hundreds of brothers and sisters, and on every birthday, he would have more gifts than anyone could ever count.